Welcome back. We have a caller on this special show. We are joined by Chandan Bhattacharya, who's giving us a call from Kolkata at this point in time. Mr. Bhattacharya, go ahead.
Yeah, my question is that I see so many craters on the moon surface. How does the lander find a flat surface to land on the moon?
That's a very good question. In fact, a number of you would be eager to know that. Group Captain Jha, would you like to take that on? Well, since the spot where it's supposed to land is so topsy-turvy, how is the ISRO going to make sure that this doesn't become a huge problem? It has in the past.
Very good question, Chandan. I must compliment you. Look, what has been happening is after Orbiter 2, Chandrayaan-2 was sent in 2019. Orbiter 2 has been going on in the orbit since then, and it has made almost about 10,000 plus pass over that area, over that South Pole where we are going to land, and it has sent phenomenal amount of information data of the pictures, high resolution pictures of that area. And ISRO over the period with those data have worked out and have ascertained that there is a patch of about 4 kilometer into 2.4 kilometer area, which is flat, looking flat at least through those many thousands of passes that Orbiter 2 has made. So with that, ISRO has made up their mind that this is a flat area, and with that flat area we are going. So even though there are craters in and around, that 4 kilometers into 2.4 kilometers looks to be flat. But again, I'll caution you, I gave you example earlier also that Apollo 10 had gone close to the surface of the moon landing, but then when it went for landing to the spot where it was supposed to be, it found that that area is uneven, so it had to maneuver itself on the side of it and then land. So with those possibilities, Chandrayaan-3 lander has got additional fuel into it so that it can hover around and maneuver itself to the complete flat area. That signal will be given to it by the radio altimeter, by the camera, and the other frequency RF information sensor that it has got. So ISRO has done everything possible that you can think of, and be proud of it. They are going to make it.
Okay, well, the Vikram lander and the Pragyan rover are very important parts of the whole mission. Let us understand their importance and their functioning further on. I'm going to go to the big screen and try and explain as a layman what they exactly will end up doing and how these pivotal parts of the mission are going to be relaying the information that the mission has been sent for in the first place. Well, this is how the Vikram functions. The door opens and of course out comes Pragyan, which is of course going to scope information, which is going to in fact delve deeper, take pictures, collect samples, relay them back to Earth, and Pragyan's battery is activated, releasing its solar panels. This is the best way to conserve as well as preserve energy and make sure that the Pragyan is activated because of this energy and the solar panels at all times. This is in fact a chunk of the terrain scans are of course relayed to the Vikram and then back to the Earth as well. So it's a two-way connection from Pragyan to the Vikram and of course back to the Earth, where they will be realized and analyzed. And this is of course an animation, and the Pragyan follows the mission control's instructions. It's going to move around, it's going to hover around, do as it has been directed to do. The pictures, the samples that are going to be analyzed by Pragyan are going to be absolutely important. It moves forwards. It's of course been taught how to clear obstacles using the rocker bogie, which is of course a mechanism which has a movement range of about 50 mm upwards and downwards as well. As you can see, 6 wheels altogether, 3 on either side. The mission control instructs Pragyan to stop and determine elemental composition of lunar rocks and other material. The mission control engages the payload to in fact figure out what is going to be the trajectory of the Pragyan as well. Mr. K. Siddhartha joins us at this point in time. to talk more about this. Mr. Siddhartha, if you can hear me, sir.
Thank you, Vinitji. Thank you so much.
Well, appreciate you being here. It's a crucial time for this mission. Like they say, the important aspects have been taken care of, but the landing is what concerns and perhaps excites all of us. Your thoughts?
I'll just go on to take this topic here as an extension of what Jha Sahab have said. That is, we have made so much amount of a built-in backup by way of redundancy that landing of the mission is not going to be too much of a problem. Now, the first thing I'm going to begin by a beginning as well. That is, we have extensively analyzed the shadow region on the moon. Now, by that we mean that is, the sun does not go on to shine as vertically on the earth as it goes on to shine on the moon. That means it's inclined. Now, it's this inclination that has helped us to map the lunar surface by way of what we go on to call it as a distal terrain modeling, DTM or sorts. Now, that is what has given us an idea about the craters and the different places where we can go on to land. Now, over and above, we do going to be having many sensors in this case, of course, altimeters, of course, a new built-in software. Now, all of these aspects are always going to be navigating it in a manner that it should not make it too much amount of a mistake. Now, mind it, Chandrayaan-3 is going to be different from Chandrayaan-2 also because we have lot of assistance from a European Space Agency as well as NASA. Both of them have given us a good number of sensors, and it is of course it is going to be merged with, it is going to be welded with or weaved with artificial intelligence on board, we should be able to guide the lander to land at a safe surface. Now, having said that, it is of course going to be hovering around in that surface if there is any type of an issue with respect to location of that region, and it has enough amount of fuel. This is what we're going to say that is built-in backup by way of a redundancy. Now, the one aspect that we may be missing in this case, while talking, not exactly while implementing it, is when it lands, is it going to be encountering a lot of dust particles in that region or not? Now, this is again that it can go to sense it with the help of it. And the last part that we are going to be taking into account is, of course, this is something to be studied in that region. Is that region undergoing through plate tectonics or not? Now, this is significant finding because the moon also happens to be experiencing a similar sort of a plate movement as the Earth goes into experience. And wherever plates collide, that is where you go on to see mountains, you go on to see volcanic activity, and that is one part that also lander is going to be taking into account. It is all of these type of variables fused with technology and fused with a complete control device through a software and aided by artificial intelligence. I don't going to think that this is going to be having a problem at all while landing in that place. And if there is, let's say, we're going to be having some amount of fuel exhaustion also to an extent. We do going to be having solar panels which can handle it the way it goes on to tilt. And if it goes on to tilt more, then it is going to be tilted in the right manner as well. Now, with so much amount of failure components that have been picked up, it should land safely in that region, and that too softly. Not on the surface of the moon, but also on what should have Kutumbakam, both of them.
Right. Srinivas from Coimbatore is joining us at this point in time. Srinivas, go ahead.
Srinivas Raghu, see, we are very happy that second deboosting has been done, and the Land Rover is going to land on the moon shortly after 3 days, and the Indian flag is also going to fly. I want to know what are the other opportunities, what are the other spin-offs that arises out of this Land Rover landing on the moon and picking up the stones?
That's a good question. Mr. Manish Purohit, ISRO scientist, also joins us at this point in time to talk more about this. Mr. Purohit?
Hello everyone. Yeah, question is really good. Actually, there are many spin-offs that we can think of. Recently, Sir was talking about lunar quakes. So right now, what Chandrayaan-3 is carrying, what Vikram is carrying, ILSA, that is the seismometer that we are carrying on Vikram. So this is first of its kind that is going to the South Pole. We had around 5 seismometers and they were working till 1977. After that, there is no seismometer that is reading the lunar quakes. Now, lunar quakes are a bit peculiar. They may or may not be because of the plate tectonics. So, if we are able to, put it there, that instrument, and get the data from that instrument, we are going to get a lot of information. Information in the sense of the history of the complete solar system, when we were a gas nebula, how it all started, because that gives us a better insight into the formation of planets. So that is one part. Second part is the spin-off for humanity will be if that sensor is working perfectly fine on lunar surface, the spin-off of that sensor will be a better earthquake sensor for on-Earth applications. That is one kind of a spin-off that we can think of. Apart from that, we are going to study the plasma environment around the lunar regolith. It's not very huge, it's very thin because moon is not having any atmosphere. So that thing is going to give us insight about the behavior of the plasma, and if there we somehow happen to find something about the isotope that we are searching for the nuclear fusion. So these are the few things that are going to add up. Apart from that, once we get on the moon, we demonstrate the technology, the biggest spin-off will be that we will be ready to ferry. We will be ready to give this service to other countries, just like Japan, they want to use our Vikram for their LUPEX mission. So that will be a one big spin-off that will be getting.
Well, that's a good point that you have raised. And Mr. Nayak, India is obviously helping other countries with satellites, and ISRO is definitely, bailing out private companies who want to enter the space industries as well. This is a good point that has been made by Mr. Purohit, that the next step, the next frontier is obviously going to be helping other countries perhaps get to the moon.
Yeah, actually, there has been a good spirit of cooperation between the countries in the field of space science and technology, and not like 50 years before. And there's a lot of give and take of information, and already some of it is on the commercial basis, like satellite launching service is strictly commercial, because India, suppose if you wants to launch the satellites of other countries, India itself has to spend a lot of money, and unless there is some return on that, that is not going to be viable. And definitely India is looking at the launching service as the commercial service, and definitely they are getting more and more orders from other countries. But this particular service of launching other satellites of the other countries is restricted mainly to the small size satellites, because our rockets right now, unlike SpaceX rockets, are not able to carry huge payloads, and our PSLV has already done that kind of a service for many other countries, and these are mostly nanosatellites, microsatellites. But even then, India has already earned a lot of revenue through that. And secondly, I think the question which was asked also really he wanted to know the spin-off on the Earth. I think that is what I think he wanted to know. So there I would like to add a few comments on that. You see, these moon missions have given lot of advantages on our daily life. First thing is the development of the high strength materials like advanced composites. Advanced composites are used for the structure because they are lightweight and very strong, and that has been used. I would like to mention one particular example in this field is in the Jaipur Foot. Jaipur Foot is a company which makes artificial limbs for the Divyang type of people, right? So there they have been able to reduce the weight considerably of these artificial, the legs and other things using these composite material. In fact, Dr. Abdul Kalam sir, he initiated this particular thing, and it has been fructified, and Jaipur Food now has been exporting these kind of products to other countries. So that is a very good example of using the technology developed for the space for the benefit of the common people.
All right, Jayaprakash is calling us from Bengaluru at this point in time. Jayaprakash, go ahead. What's your question? Okay, Jayaprakash not there with us. Group Captain Jha, well, in terms of this extraction of mineral part, how is that likely to be a game changer? We obviously don't know what we're going to find over there. Minerals, as you know, when you talk about Mars or the Moon, are something which could definitely help out in a number of scientific probabilities. What is that area looking like for the Chandrayaan-3, and how is ISRO likely to in fact use that, leverage that to its advantage?
Vineet, you have asked me a question which I have been writing an article in the last 4 or 5 days. Exploration of Moon. And that is one area where the entire world will have to think of. It is not easy. Firstly, of course, all nations who land up there, they must be having their ambitions, both commercial and scientific. In the commercial, whether they will be able to mine those minerals and bring it back to the earth in a quantity which is commercially viable is questionable. Secondly, much more important thing is, should any country be allowed to do the mining of that thing and bring it back here to the earth? What happens to the mass of the moon? Moon is a satellite to earth. If you change the mass with the commercial exploitation, then what will happen to the gravity, the gravitational interaction with the earth? Right now we know the moon is deviating by about an inch every year. If you reduce the mass, what will happen? It will further go away. But more important thing is that we have already spoiled our earth. Why are we going to spoil the moon? What will be the implications? If it is going far away, fair enough, it will get lost in the hundreds and thousands of years ahead. But what happens in case if it comes towards us? Satellites, the moon is revolving around us for the billions of years, and it has not come anywhere closer to us. If we alter those fine equilibrium, it is going to be disastrous. And that is where I feel UN should come into it and should lay down some sort of embargo onto the nations doing mining onto the moon. Moon is a very sensitive issue. It will be a very sensitive issue to any change of equilibrium with Earth. It may deviate, it may go away. God forbid, in case if it starts coming towards us, then we have no escape. So that must be borne into the minds. Exploration part is something that the world will have to think of beneath.
All right, well, ISRO has tried to repeatedly make sure that it launches missions to the moon at the lowest possible cost. Let us compare with the others and see whether that has been done till now or not. And of course, space is an expensive proposition. Most of the countries are not able to undertake any kind of a program in space. It's because of the number of costs that are involved. Of course, the cost of Chandrayaan 1 was 386 crore. Chandrayaan 2 was 970 crores, and Chandrayaan 3 is 250 crores. So what does this really connotate? It basically means that the costs are coming down and the technology is getting better. Chandrayaan 3 is of course at 250 crores, and look at what Apollo 17 was all about, $450 million. The Luna 25 is 1600 crores, and the Changi 5 is 219 million. So it's a fraction of the cost with which the ISRO has been able to pull out and pull off these missions. Right, Mr. Siddhartha, of course, the cost element is the important aspect over here. It is the determining factor, and you want the best, you want the maximum bang for your buck, and that's exactly what ISRO has been able to pull off here.
Is this question to me?
Yes.
I couldn't go to hear it properly. If you can go to repeat it, please.
So we're talking about the cost. How do you think ISRO has been able to manage these costs in comparison to what the Americans or what the Russians or the Chinese have been able to spend and still keep it at a very economic level?
I do believe in this case that is we are passion driven. Now, the amount of bumps that we have gone through in trying to develop our space program with the type of problems we have faced, imagine hundreds of scientists being killed, and we can easily correlate it for what reason is it that they may have been killed for. So it has been our passion that has been driving it so. That's number one. Of course, when passion goes on to work, then logic goes for a 6. And in this case, actually logic is not working as much as our zeal, our respect, our will to dominate the whole of the world, and our will to show to the whole of the world how is it that we are going to be better, different, and of course, there are a lot of technologies in ISRO that are going to be much better than that of United States. ISRO scientists who are present here, they are going to know that. Secondly, the scientific ecosystem that we happen to be nurturing, that is actually built to decrease the cost overall, beginning all the way from maybe IIT, IIS, and so on. That is going to be another factor associated with it. The third is the way these people are going to be groomed with the tradition that we're going to be having it, and I'm not talking about the scientific aspects of it as we're coming onto that part. That is, you have a mentor who goes into mentor it, and then you go on to learn, you're going to have a complete ecosystem to work on that part. That is going to be another component. Now imagine, we have been able to take our rockets even on a बैलगाड़ी, on a bullock cart, even on a bicycle, and still we have been able to be successful in this case. And now we have an infrastructure which goes on to be working on largely economies of scale. Because we began with economic proposition. It was not with a military aim, like most of these other countries have been so. So we've been constantly looking at how to decrease the overall cost in this region. Not exactly like that of a pump show that is that is not, we have been following least cost approach, not exactly maximum revenue approach in this case. That is from the perspective of economics. And of course, the last part is we attitude-wise, we do go on to be belonging to a country where a lot of jugaad goes on to be taking place. Of course, it doesn't go to work here in this case, but our attitude of weaving a lot of things, finding a solution, finding out of the box thinking solutions, and also trying to minimize it, that has worked wonders. Now we have a complete infrastructure, we have a complete setup in this case, and this setup, how we have built it ourselves, not exactly that has been aided by another country or many other countries of sorts. Like what the United States have done is that it has been a very high cost economy. We have not been so. That is, the land is cheaper, people are going to be easily available in this case, and that to high quality people. The third, of course, is the type of technology that we have experimented. Fourth is the weaving of these technologies, and the fifth is the constant success that we have tried to make, and we have been swatantra in this case. I will go on to emphasize on this one. Swatantra, that means it means that we have our own ecosystem. Swa, that is, it's our own, not paratantra. That's, you have been completely independent, if you can translate that into English. And that has been the most important and significant aspect that has lowered the cost.
We have a caller, Srinivasan, giving us a call from Belgavi. Srinivasan, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening.
Good
First
evening.
of all, congratulations to our all our scientists who have, who are working in India, and with all their skills, they have not gone abroad. So for their dedication, number one. Number two is a very important question which every Indian would like to ask is, when ISRO can develop so good engines for satellites and all, can the same technology be used to develop jet aircraft engines in India? Because that is what is hindering the development of jet fighters in India. Thank you.
All right, that's a good point. Perhaps also a point that we can debate about a little later.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.